Hello everyone, it's Percy number 6, and it's finally time to start answering some of your questions. So let's just cut to the chase. The first question comes from King Percy DuckTales, and he asks one. He asks, how did Duck get back onto Sodor in Clash of Chaos? Well, I guess it's implied that Sir Topham Hatt, while he was away, did some digging and ended up finding Duck. That's how I went with it. And yeah, I'm sure I'm going to be getting more of those questions. So yeah, let's get to the next question. Mr. Dank Engine 1999 EDCP asks, have you done any customs? I've never made a custom. I think part of the reason is as a kid, I just hated the idea of ruining one of my trains by putting customs on it. Like even like as a kid, I wanted buffers on my trains, but I never would actually put buffers. Now, when I say ruin, I don't mean that anybody who does customs ruins them because they're changing the train. I just, as a kid, I never felt like I could do a custom. That's kind of a bucket list that I would like to do someday, make a custom. But I don't know. I think there's some amazing people who do customs out there. If you've probably seen them. The first one that comes to mind is Hero the Japanese Train Matt. There's another, I think Domeless Engine. They, those two make some fantastic customs that I think are just as good, if not better, than items that are released in the Thomas Wooden Railway line. Next, Rickety Fell Railway. He asked a couple questions. What do you think about Boko? See, Boko is one of those characters that everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but most people are like, bring Boko back, bring Boko back. It's not that I don't want Boko back, there's just other characters I'd rather have back, like Duke especially. I'd rather bring in someone like Wilbert, who hasn't been on the show. Boko's a fine diesel, but I don't. He's not one of my favorites. Let's put it that way. That doesn't mean I dislike him. He never stood out to me as a kid as one of them that I really liked. And his other question is, what camera do you use? I've been using the same camera since 2012. It's on my wiki page, so go check out the wiki. I figured that'd be a good way to make you guys go check out the wiki. Go check out the wiki. It's at the bottom of my Percy number 6 page. You should be able to find it. But I've been using it since 2012. I've been using it 5 years. I'm kind of surprised I'm still using it. I thought it would get outdated by now, but it's getting the job done. So that's good enough. Next, Roger Rubenstein. He has 10 questions. So here we go. Have you seen the TCC Return of Diesel? And if so, what do I think of it? I have not. I think I've seen one or two TCC videos before. I saw someone on Twitter just recently put something up of a video like Gordon the Miniature Engine that was uploaded on the Thomas and Friends YouTube page, and I watched that. But before that, it might have been 2015 or 2016 since I've watched one. I don't know. Was it around in 2015? I don't follow the TCC. Sorry. Next question. Are you excited for Journey Beyond Sodor? Now, as of this filming, Journey Beyond Sodor has already been released, and I've already seen it. That being said, I was actually kind of excited for it. Not like super excited, but I was like, I wouldn't mind seeing it. I want to see what it's like. Next, do you plan on doing another movie for this season? For season 7, no. Uh, Once the final episode's uploaded, it's done. Sorry, that's just how I want to finish it. It's wasn't when I made the series. It wasn't meant to be a movie after every season, so I don't want to end it with a movie. It would make sense, yes, but I'd rather have a longer episode than a movie to end the series. That's just me. And I guess I decided because it's my series. Next question. How long does it take to film an episode of your series? This is a very interesting question. I really like it. Uh, how long does it take to film an episode? It really, it's not, there's not a science behind it. It's not like every episode I make takes an hour. It's not something like that. Usually in like season 7, season 6, 5, like usually it would take two batteries to film it. That's how I would judge it. So usually 2 days, because I would film it in one day with a battery, and then I film it in the next day with a battery. For some reason, I have one episode of season 7 left to film as of this recording. But for some reason, the last few episodes I've been able to do in one battery, which is really nice because then I don't have to wait and do it the next day. So usually 1 or 2 days. I'd say most of them take 1 or 2 days. So next question. Will there be an explanation on how Duck was found by Sir Topham Hatt? I mean, technically, I just gave one a little bit earlier on in this Q&A. That being said, while I don't like talking about the plot for an upcoming season before it's aired, I will say I don't address that at all. So, yeah, if you were hoping for that, sorry, but yeah, I'm not addressing it in season 7. His next question: will you accept requested episodes should you continue your series? Well, I don't plan on continuing Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends of Wooden Railway Stories, and for Branchline Chronicles, I just use a quote from the episode. So no, I guess I won't. Sorry about that. Next, 7. If you were to change one thing about Thomas and the Magic Railway, what would it be and why? As a kid, I really enjoyed the movie. Like, I watched it all the time. That being said, if I got to change something, why not put P.T. Boomer back? And I think he would have contributed very well to the storyline and it would have been a nice addition for that. Uh, his next question: how long have you been collecting Thomas Wooden Railway? I've been collecting a long time. I was like 4 years old when I started collecting. I'd say 15 years ish. Yeah, long time. I'm old. Uh, Let's see. And then his next question: who's your favorite Diesel? As a kid, I didn't really like Diesel because he was like, oh, he was a villain. So I never really liked him, but as I got older, I grew to like him more. I really like Salty. He was probably the first Diesel where I'm like, I really like Salty. It's like Daisy was eh. I mean, I like Rusty too, so any of those three, if I had to pick one, probably Rusty. Not by much, but I do like Rusty. And his final question: are you going to do a face reveal soon? No, I am not. I do not plan on a face reveal. I like my mask. I started it, and I kind of want to keep it going. So thank you for your questions. Next, Thomas Fan 01213 asks, what do you think of Journey Beyond Sodor? I love your work. Keep it up. Why, thank you. Uh, Journey Beyond Sodor. I might make a video talking about that. So I don't want to, for one, I don't want to take like 5-10 minutes just talking about Journey Beyond Sodor in it. So I'm going to keep this answer really short, and I apologize for that, but like I said, it makes sense. I'd much rather make a video focusing on Journey Beyond Sodor than talking about it in a Q&A. So to keep it short, I like Journey Beyond Sodor. Alright, so our next questions come from Engineer Guy 23. He has 4 questions for me. First, are you open to voice acting for others? I have voice acted for one person, that is Ted Alverduck. I feel like I voice acted for one more person, but that was years before that, probably like 2009, 2010. If I did that, and I'm not even sure if I did. So, no, I voice for Ted because he's my friend, and that's it. I'd rather just do that. Sorry. His next question: what's your favorite song from The Great Race? Uh, Will you, won't you take me to the railway show? I like that one. Ooh. No, I'm thinking of Bob Builder's song. Cause there's one song whenever I'm working, I always think of it for some reason. But no, that's a Bob the Builder song. We make a team together. No, so I guess my favorite one will you, won't you take me to the railway? I like that ending for Thomas. There's a lot of good songs in that, I'll say. Compared to Journey Beyond Soda, there are a lot of good songs in The Great Race. Next, what do you think is the most customized Thomas and Friend character in TWR? Huh. Well, I'd say Bear. Bear, because a lot of people use the first D199 model on Bear, so I'll go with Bear. What is my least favorite destination? Man, my least favorite destination? I just uploaded destination. The day I'm filming this, I just uploaded my destination collection. So let's think about what destination do I like the least? There's this one, I forget the exact name of it, but it's just a railway crossing. It has a, well, not rail, well, the one, let's talk about that for a second. the railway crossing for the road and the rails that they made in like 2002, not the lights and sound version, just the regular one. I mean, it gets the job done, but it's really not much of a destination. That's the first one I can think of, so I'll just go with that. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for everybody who's asked questions so far, in case I didn't say thank you. Next come from Will TWR Productions. His first question, can I do a crossover with you? Sorry, it's usually a mutual thing. Well, we both kind of agree to do the crossover, and right now I'm in the middle of, or not the middle, but I'm towards the end of finishing season 7, which is taking a lot of time, and I have some other videos planned that I need to work on, so I don't have the time, and I don't really know you either, so I try to do people with that I at least have got to know, so sorry, no. Next, can you do more? Who's better? That's a good one. I haven't, the first one I did was Percy, and I guess more people liked it than I thought. I've had a few people, whether it be Twitter or whatnot, ask me if I'm going to do more. So maybe I'll do more. I'll look into doing more. His next question, can you do more crossovers? Currently, I don't have any planned. However, I would like to get back into crossovers. I know, like, I'm pretty sure every crossover except for the one with Eric was a surprise. So I don't really like getting into the details of the crossover. I'd rather be like, hey, I have a video coming up on Friday. And then you guys are like, oh, it's a crossover. So I do want to do more crossovers. However, I currently don't have any planned with anyone. Maybe, like I said, right now my main focus is finishing season 7. I know I just have one episode left, but that is my main focus. Once I'm done with that, we can get back into the crossover world potentially. We'll see. And his final question, what was your reaction to Thomas Wood being fake? I was really surprised because, for one, you'd have to put in a lot of work to come up with that. So I give him credit for that. And I'm like, oh, I know some people were upset. I'm like, why would you do that? That doesn't make sense. And I understand that. I didn't really care. I'm like, whatever. It was. Part of me is like, would have been better if they all looked that way. Because what we're getting is not much better than the one that was fake. Kind of stinks. Oh well. Next come from Cedrian Scoop. He first asked, after this season, what do you plan to do with your series? I've already talked about before, but this is the last season, so it'll be done. Sorry, that's how it'll work. Next, can you make a movie to finish your series? I already kind of talked about it, but once again, I don't want to make a movie to finish my series. I'd rather have a longer episode to finish off, because the series was meant to be episodes, not movies. So I'd rather have the last thing of Thomas the Tank Engine Friends Wooden Railway Stories be an episode than a movie. Uh, Next, what happened to Branchline Chronicles? I put it on hold. I looked at the episode of Branchline Chronicles that I uploaded, and I'm like, a lot of people really enjoy my other series, Thomas Tank Friends Wouldn't Really Story, and I just rather focus my efforts, get season 7 done, and then go back to Branchline Chronicles. I have all but 2 episodes scripted out, so that's nice. So just be filming and editing. So yeah, I just wanted to finish my other series first. Next, who is my favorite user? My favorite user, I assume you mean TWR or just Thomas user, not like in general. Uh, I hate to be like, oh, I don't have one, so I really want to try and think of who would be my favorite user. Uh, Ted. Let's go with Ted. He's one of my favorite people to watch. Uh, Really, whatever videos he makes, I always find something. Like, there's never a video where I'm like, oh, I'll watch that later of Ted's. I always try to watch Ted's videos as fast as I can, so I think that classifies as a favorite user. And his final question, can you make a Thomas horror movie someday? That's an interesting idea. I personally don't really enjoy horror movies, not like I'm scared. I just never really got into that, so I probably won't. But man, that's an interesting idea. Maybe someone should get on that. That's kind of like Shed 17, although I haven't seen Shed 17. I know, believe it or not, it's been out for what, 2 or 3 years now? I don't know. But thank you for your questions. Next, Mayo Hosco asks, if Thomas the Tank Engine merchandise didn't sell, do you think the show would be canceled? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, the merchandise is like half of it. We're talking about a show that's gone 20 plus seasons now. I think it would have been if the merchandise wasn't that there's such a big merchandise line. Like, let's think about it this way. Even if the show ever got canceled, I think he probably could keep the merchandise line going. Because, like, look at the Cars line. Those toys sell like crazy, or at least they used to. And they only have a few movies. So, yeah, even if Thomas got canceled, I think the merchandise line would go. But in your question, if the merchandise didn't sell well, I think, especially early on, if they're like, wow, we have this merchandise line, it's not doing well, then I wouldn't have been surprised if it got canceled. Next, if Thomas and the Magic Railway had a bigger hit in the box office, do you think Britt Allcroft would still be making the episodes today? No, I do not, because we're talking about in the year 2000. It is now 2017. It is 17 years since Thomas and the Magic Railway has come out. I think Brit would have done what she did just a few years later, sold it off, made money, and called it quits. And I wouldn't blame her. Where do you see the TWR brand heading after the redesign? Do you think the range will be discontinued forever? Well, technically, right now it is because TWR is done. Now it's Thomas and Friends Wood. But I understand what you're saying. I think it's kind of a make or break. Because I've talked to Mr. Conductor fan a while back. We talked about it. And he was saying, he's like, the one problem with the TWR line is it doesn't connect to any of the other lines that they have for Thomas, which is true. So if it doesn't sell well, which I don't think Thomas and Friends will, I would not be surprised if we see this as the end of the line for Thomas and Friends Wood after like a year or two. So I'm not too excited about the future there. Next, if you can make a video with anyone in the TWR community, who would it be? Oh, this is an interesting question. Anybody that's thinking, to me, I want to think of a past user who's been gone for a long time. James's 5 was the first user that came to my mind. Back in the day, I talked to him a lot. He's been gone for years, though. I think I'll go with James's 5. I know at the time his videos were pretty good quality, but today you watch him and there's nothing against him. I mean, my videos were up from 2009. You'd be saying the same thing, but his quality isn't that good. 2009 is a lot different than 2017 on YouTube. But in any regard, I'd love to do a video with him someday. I doubt it'll ever happen, but that'd be fun. That'd be the person I go with. And his final question: what's your opinion of the Railway series books written by Christopher Audrey? I think it was cool, the Sun making more episodes or more books, I should say. I like the idea. So hey, I wish there was more. That's the only thing I could ask for. Thank you for your questions. Next, Rusty number 5. First, will you ever do a live stream? I have never done a live stream, and I'm glad at least someone noticed. I've always thought, like, should I do a live stream? I don't know. Will I ever do a live stream? Never say never. I kind of would like to do a live stream. I don't know when would be the right time. But I know a lot of people who've done it, so I'm sure they can show me the ropes of how to do a live stream or even come on for a live stream. So I wouldn't. I'd lean more towards a yes than a no. How soon will that be? I don't know. It might be a while. Next, what's gonna happen in the series finale of your series? I'm sorry, I'm not telling my storylines. That you'll find out when the season goes on. I'll tell you this. Though. I planned out season 5 and 6 before I started filming season 5. For season 7, I didn't really plan it out till the end of season 6. And even then, it's probably this year when I started planning out season 7. So, I'll leave you with that. Hope you enjoy season 7. It should be coming out in September. Like I said, I have 14 episodes filmed, so I'm almost done filming. Next, when's the next episode of Branchline Chronicles? I know last year I uploaded an episode of Branchline Chronicles. I'm like, hopefully it's not another year till I upload. Nah, it's gonna be longer than that because I'm putting my efforts into Thomas the Tank Engine Friends Winter Railway Stories, which means Branchline Chronicles is pushed off. Once I'm done finishing this series, season 7, I'll probably work on other videos. I have no idea. Hopefully there'll be an episode out in 2018. That's all I can really say. Next, what's your thoughts on Rosie going to be red in season 21 of Thomas and Friends? I just saw what Rosie looked like red in Journey Beyond Sodor. You know, I kind of wish they kept the pink because there's not really any engines that have pink. However, I don't mind them changing her up. I mean, like, think about like the Care Bears, for example. I know, weird comparison, but the Care Bears, they've had bears change, whether it be their colors or their stomach, their tummy. I can't. As a kid, I could tell you what it's called, but did they change them? I think it's a good idea to change it every once in a while. So, I like. I wouldn't have personally done it. However, I like that they did it. Thank you for your questions. And next, Easy Coldy. He has 5 for me. First, do you watch NASCAR? And if so, who's my favorite driver? I'm sorry, I don't watch NASCAR, so I can't answer that. Will you buy Thomas and Friends wood? This is another never say never question. I'd actually lean more towards a yes than a no here. I feel like I might want to buy one just to have it, just to see what it looks like. Maybe a Thomas. I try to get all the versions of. I didn't get the final version of Learning Curves. Thomas told me whatever. I'm okay with that, but like for the most part, I try to get Thomases and Percy's. So I might get them, but maybe a new character if it doesn't look too horrible, or I might get like any. I might get like Winston because I get a Sir Topham Hatt figure. Like that. That's my philosophy behind it. Next, favorite memory from the Thomas Winter Railway community. I really like this question. Thomas Winter Railway community memory. I probably about 5 years ago. 5 years ago, if you weren't around, you probably know, oh, the summer's the Jack War, which it was. But there's a lot of other things that went on beyond the Jack War. There's a lot of late night. Like, I remember talking to a lot, like, the users I talked to that summer, most of them are gone now, which is kind of weird to think. They've all left. They're not active in the community, although Roberto's still active in the community. Oh boy. But beyond him, like, I talked to her about Phil. Trains are cool too. We'd have a lot. The four of us would have a lot of late night conversations. Henry's great. 15. Johnny, he'd be there too. There's a lot of good users. I enjoyed that. That was a fun summer. I enjoyed being with people, and it's crazy to think so many of them aren't active anymore. Next, favorite Theodore Tugboat character. It's kind of weird. Usually, as a kid, I'd never go with like the title character. I'd probably say either Hank or Theodore, leaning a little bit more towards Theodore. Uh, I liked them both. I liked Hank. I usually like that sidekick character. Like Percy example, he's the sidekick to Thomas, really. So yeah, I probably would go with Theodore himself though. And the final question: favorite food? Cinnamon toast crunch. I have it every morning, probably for 5 years now. Not a healthy option, no, but I love it. I love it. There's been very few times where I haven't had it, usually because I'm either out of milk or out of cinnamon toast crunch. Oh my goodness, I love that cereal. I also like Cheerios too. They're good. The cinnamon toast crunch, fantastic. 10 out of 10, recommended. Thank you for your questions. Next, Train Fan 24/7. 1. Will you buy the Thomas and Friend wood products? And if so, would you swap your models to Thomas and Friends wood? I kind of answered the last question. Yes, I would buy it. Would I switch my models to Thomas and Friends wood? Let me say this. I know you'll be like, what? I won't rule it out. However, I probably won't. It's one of those where, yes, I've seen images of it. But until I actually hold it in my hands, get a look, compare it to my versions, I can't say I wouldn't be against it. I'd have to look at it and decide which one I truly like. Next, I do want to finish. I probably won't. Next, do you own other Thomas brands like Ertl, Tomy, Tankalong, etc.? I have some Ertl. I have a couple Tomy, just a couple. And they were my brothers, so technically not. There's a Percy I know. Percy, and then I think like the 60th anniversary Thomas. For Ertl, I have a decent Ertl collection. I always really enjoyed Ertl as a kid. I thought they were well detailed. I just never, by the time I started collecting Ertl was pretty much done, so I didn't have much time. Tankalong, I got the first Tankalong toys right away, but after that, I'm like, I don't really like these. I'll stick to Thomas, Wooden Railway, and yeah, that's probably it. Other brands, I don't have any minis, no ventures. Oh, I think that's probably it. And his final question, do you watch other Thomas Wooden Railway reviews on YouTube? Yes, I do. I love watching people's reviews. Uh, See, to me, I do like series. I do like series, but I really like watching people's reviews or just the ones where they show their face or just have a mask on, whatever it may be, whatever they choose. I really enjoy those. I don't know why. That's probably one of my favorite things to watch on you or on Tom in the world of Thomas on YouTube. That's probably my favorite thing. All right, we're at 25 minutes. I'm probably gonna answer a couple more people's questions. Next, Epic Dude 345. He asked, "Oh, this is a left field question. Is the Thomas Wooden Railway community dying?" Uh, I don't think it is. I've been around what seems like forever in this community, and I've seen it bad, and it's not that bad right now. Is it perfect? No, I think we've had better years, but it's not a bad year. I think the TWR community is doing well. While technically there won't be TWR anymore, I think the community will be going on for a while. So thank you for your question. Next, couple from I'm a Train fan. So what? That's the username. They ask, how do you officially join the TWR? I assume community, but he said TWR. Anyway, I mean, you just have to make TWR videos. However, I know most people, when they ask that question, they just want to be featured on the wiki page. There's a rules page if you really want to go thorough in it, but the main points I'd keep in mind if you want to be on that list, have 100 subscribers and have at least 50% TWR videos. So keep that in mind. His next question, did you see the Journey Beyond Sodor sneak peek on the Thomas and Friends channel, and what was my opinion? Yes, even though I did see the movie, I did see that sneak peek before it, the Who's Thomas, and then they had one other song come out too. Uh, I was, the song was fine. I'm like, okay, whatever. It wasn't, like I said earlier in this video, it's just okay. I'm kind of disappointed with how the songs are. They just weren't as good as the past. I think I have time for one more question. Lego Dude 1439. He will finish part 1 of the Q&A by asking, is Diesel 10 going to come back and have revenge with an army of Diesels? See, I've used Diesel 10 a lot throughout my series. And the funny thing is, here's a little behind the scenes stories. I enjoy hearing behind the scenes and telling behind the scenes. Hopefully you guys do too. But after season 4, I wanted to come up with a villain that wasn't Diesel 10, and that's where Ted and I ended up getting our idea for how season 5 and 6 would go for my series. I had some ideas, he had some ideas, we combined them together, and what you got in season 5 and 6 was what we thought of. So I've really enjoyed not using Diesel 10 as a villain, or Diesels in general as a villain. As for your question, is Diesel's 10 going to come back and have revenge with an army of Diesels? I'm not telling my plot for this coming season, so I'll leave it at that. I'm not going to say yes or no to that, because if people, I'll give you a warning for part 2. If you ask stuff about my plot, I keep the plot quiet, because you're going to find out one way or another. This time next year, season 7 will have been completely released, so you'll for sure know by then. Let's put it that way. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Part 2 next week? I don't know. Probably. It depends. I don't know how my upload schedule is, but it'll be coming out this year. Let's leave it at that. So thank you for those of you who asked questions and had them answered in this video. If not, they'll be answered in part 2, and hopefully not a part 3, but if we need, we can do the part 3. That's it for now. Thank you for listening. This is person number 6. I will see you guys in part 2.